This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to a Monday edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel tonight. And let me tell you, say it ain't so, but the Edmonton Oilers may finally have the beginnings of what is looking to look like a number one defenseman, a true number one defenseman. Now, what is a true number one defenseman? A guy that can legitimately do it all for you. Shorthanded, power play, even strength. Every single number looks respectable and looks like you can depend on that guy. And that guy, through 11 games this season, is Darnell Nurse. What? Say it ain't so, right? That's what I was saying. This does not seem like a sentence that I would say or a sentence any Oilers fan would say, but let's dive into the numbers here and get things going as to why Darnell Nurse is in fact shaping up to be a true number one defenseman, at least for this season, for our Edmonton Oilers. If you're new to the channel, before we get to the stats, maybe take the next 10 minutes or so and consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you are returning to the channel, the video, whatever you want to say, consider hitting that like button and helping a guy out if you want to understand why Darnell Nurse is the man to be counted on. So, for Darnell Nurse this season, time on ice statistics is going to be first in my argument. 2 minutes and 41 seconds time on ice per game on the penalty kill. That is fourth best on the team of anyone that's played a hockey game this year, but realistically, out of all the regulars, that is the best per game time on ice for anyone. Power play time on ice for Mr. Darnell Nurse this year, $1.40 per game. Obviously, right, we haven't seen him on the power play too much, but at the same rate, he has produced 3 power play points for us this season, and just so happens to be way down the list, in fact, on how much ice time he's seen. 7th most ice time, next to James Neal, Tyson Barrie, Alex Chiasson, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Say it ain't so, I guess it is what it is. But Darnell Nurse at the same rate, producing 3 power play points, right? Not on the ice for any shorthanded goals against, which the Oilers have had a couple so far this year. And don't forget as well, on ice shorthanded goals for, the Oilers have had a couple of those. Darnell Nurse has been on the ice for both of those. So none against, but 2 for. So he's +2, technically speaking, on the penalty kill, which is a fantastic stat to have if you're your number one defenseman, logging the most ice time out of any regular on the penalty kill. And the other side too is on ice penalty or power play goals against. Darnell Nurse is not the number one leader in that category. He is close. He is with 4 goals against on the power play when other teams have the power play, but Adam Larsson, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Kyle Turris all lead in that category, 6, 5, and 5, respectively, for the 2 centers, with Larsson leading with 6 against. And don't forget as well, right? I mean, Darnell Nurse is leading in ice time in that category by an extra 14 seconds more per game than Adam Larsson. So you add up, that's a lot of extra penalties the Oilers have had to kill over the span of 11 games that Darnell Nurse has had extra time on the ice for so far this season. Now, the other side, too, is even strength play, which, like I said, a true number one defenseman does it all for you. Well, how about 19 minutes and 49 seconds time on ice per game so far this year, for a total of 15 on-ice goals for even strength and 11 even strength goals against. That's a +4 differential. And oh my goodness, yeah, all in, all day, that counts towards a +6 in the plus-minus column for Darnell Nurse. And I mean, here's the thing. Stop me if this sounds kind of crazy, because Darnell Nurse does not pass the eye test. Darnell Nurse is not a pretty watch in the defensive zone or in the offensive zone when you're watching him on the Oilers. But whatever he's doing has been dang effective so far for the Oilers this season. So let me just kind of screen cap this. I'll go through the next round of numbers. I should have screen capped this for you, but I've gotten into a bad habit of not covering the numbers. But here you go. These are just kind of the numbers sorted by, and you can see what I'm talking about here when it comes to Darnell Nurse and backing things up as to how it all works out for him so far this season. Nurse ice time statistics is what we'll call it, and we'll just get that for you, and we'll get that covered as you'll see the numbers I was referring to just moments ago. My apologies. I'm in bad habit ripping up videos way too fast in the evening right now, and it is just the new nature of things with games every second night. So here are the statistics. This is on ice power play goals against is how this sorted. That's the column right here, bang, right there. So you see, right, but there's the numbers I'm talking about. Darnell Nurse, $1.40 power play per game. You've got 241 shorthanded time on ice per game. Even strength, 1949. Darnell Nurse is playing the most ice time out of Edmonton Oilers so far. So let me get into the other statistics here, the fancy stats that you need to believe from me. He has right now, outside of his 2-game rookie stint in 14-15, his best Corsi for percentage of his career at 51.8%. Corsi, again, if you're not familiar with fancy stats, shots, blocks, and misses in the offensive zone versus defensive zone at even strength. So in his favor, those shots, blocks, and misses are 51.8% tilted on the Oilers' favor when he is on the ice. And Fenwick for, which is just shots and misses, is at a 52.1%, which is the second highest of his career, next to 52.5% in 17-18. The other outstanding stat here is for Darnell Nurse in what has been a kind of crazy season, but he seems to do it in seasons where the Oilers aren't the best, has a great on-ice save percentage. The Oilers' goaltending, you know, it hasn't been great by any terms of save percentage, and Darnell Nurse through 11 games has seen his on-ice save percentage, so the goalie save percentage or team save percentage with Darnell Nurse on the ice is .911, right? Not .911 or 91.1%, and that is huge for a team that is getting sub 900 save percentage overall throughout the game, so keep that in mind as well. And I believe that is at even strength, and that adds up to a total of on-ice shooting percentage as well. We need to talk about that, is at an all-time high for Darnell Nurse at 11.6, leading to his PDO, which is on-ice shooting percentage versus plus on-ice save percentage at 102.7, is the best clip by 2 points in his career. That's crazy. All the while, starting in the defensive zone, other than the 18-19 season, right, because he was counted on with Mr. Oscar Klefbom out of the lineup that season as well, at the second highest rate of his career. 51.9% of his faceoffs are in the defensive zone. What we're not forgetting to mention here is Darnell Nurse is playing a total of 24 minutes and 10 seconds on ice per game. Like, this guy is out there doing it every single night. And whether you're a Bear lover, Bear hater, whether you're a Tyson Barrie lover or a Tyson Barrie hater, he has not played with guys that anybody would go out here and unanimously say are defensemen that bolster you as a pairing, right? Like Tyson Barrie, generally thought of as a defensive liability. Ethan Bear, not to knock him, but unfortunately he is just a sophomore rookie kind of deal. He's going to struggle at times, and somebody has to bail him out. And the fact that the Oilers are relying on Darnell Nurse to bail out both Barrie and Bear is kind of a frightening situation if you would have started this season. But instead of the kind of nightmare scenario, hi Rudy, instead of the nightmare scenario of Darnell Nurse costing us hockey games night in, night out, the Oilers are in hockey games, winning hockey games, and not losing hockey games badly because of Darnell Nurse and his elite three-way play throughout the first 11 games of the NHL season. A sentence you would have never thought would be coming out of Oilers fans' mouths, but Darnell Nurse up there as well in NHL scoring. Don't forget, Darnell Nurse, 8 points, is somewhere tied for third in defense points in the NHL right now. That from at RyanGK on Twitter. And like I said, analytics prove he's a beauty. And don't forget, this all while taking over Oscar Klefbom's spot and having to run amok with a bad defense by everybody's standard opinion. And here you have Darnell Nurse, who is generally thought of as the Oilers' overpaid mistake, sitting here absolutely dominating the NHL despite the Oilers really stuck in neutral so far through 11 games, although it's starting to get better in the past 2 games. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I hope you've enjoyed the Darnell Nurse deep dive. We'll have more on him as the season progresses, I promise you that. If you want to stay tuned for that and all other Oilers coverage, consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you haven't already, hit the like button on your way out. I will have more for you later tonight. I am up on out of here.